Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ash, and today we'll be doing Vulnversity, another TryHackMe capture the flag / walkthrough. And I don't like this update because you know I'm a peasant and I don't pay for TryHackMe Premium. So go head over to tryhackme.com and start up your virtual machine here, and then our local virtual machine is on the right. So get your VPN up and running, make sure you are connected. We'll just create a new directory and just cd into that directory. Alright, starting off on task 1, deploy the machine, so we've done that. Task 2, Reconnaissance. So we're going to scan the machine using this tool. So if you haven't used it before, we've got some handy flags here for us to quickly go over. So let's copy our IP, and I'm just going to make an environment variable IP using the export command. And we can just make sure that that worked. If we echo that out, we've got our IP. Just a little thing to make life a little easier. So we can go ahead and just do a default scan. I'm just going to use -VV for verbose mode so we can see some more. A for all, and we'll just go against the IP. And lastly, let's just output that to a normal file, call it nmap. Okay, so that's done, so let's cut out our results. So from the top, we can see 994 closed ports, meaning out of 1,000 there are 6 open. So looking at our questions, there's cheat sheets online. We'll just go off of memory for now. Scan the box, how many ports are open? So I'm gonna say 6, so there's nothing over 1,000. What version of the Squid proxy is running on the machine? So let's have a further look at what ports we've got. So there's an FTP 22 for SSH, 139 and 445, which as a workgroup, Samba, meaning it's a file share. Then we've got 3128 for a HTTP proxy, and we can see here Squid. So that's the port that it's on, and it's asking for us the version number, so we can see that here. Then how many ports will nmap scan if the flag -p-400 was used? So yeah, 400 because this means like 1 to 400. Using the nmap flag -n, what will it not resolve? DNS? What is the most likely operating system this machine is running? So we can see here it's mentioned a few times. What port is the web server running on? So if we go down to this last port number here, we've got 3333. So nice little note here to try and do as much reconnaissance as you can. So even if you scan all the ports using the -p- and just leave that running in the background, so that's good to remember. Alright, task 3, locating directories using GoBuster. GoBuster is a fast directory discovery tool, so you can go ahead and install this by downloading it or running sudo apt install GoBuster. I don't believe you need to do -get anymore. Are you using the Z shell or the rolling version of Kali like I am? GoBuster should light up green if you've got it installed. Next talks about word lists. So again, if you're using this, you can actually run word lists as a command and it will show you the word lists that are currently come installed. So it says here to run GoBuster as so. Before we go ahead and do that, let's just go ahead and look at the website. So if we go to the IP of the virtual machine on 3333, so we have a active website. Make sure you're using colon and the port number that the web server is actually running on to gain access. Another quick way to test, like if you get anything back, you can run curl in the same format, and that'll show you the raw HTML that you would get in response. Let's run GoBuster, and you'll see there's a bunch of available commands for us to use. So we're instructed to use the dir, which uses directory file enumeration mode. So you can run that -h, and that'll give us more specific flags to this command under GoBuster. So what we want to do is -u, the format, and then -w, which is down here under the global flags. So it's always good just to have a quick look at the other commands, just in case there's something there that might be useful, like maybe you want to output it to a file, and we can go ahead and try that. So I'm going to use the environment variable here, -w, and we just need to get our words list. So after running words list, I'm going to try the directory in dirbusters. Let's just have a look at this one. Just look at the top with the head command. Actually, we'll try and get this one under the derb directory. So we'll just paste that in there. We'll just make an output file and just save it under gobuster.txt. So just make sure that we have the actual protocol there, and then we can run that. Ooh, permission denied. Let's just make sure we're running with permissions and we should be good to go. Alright, I'm just going to try that again with the common.txt file, and that looks like it's working a bit better now. So we can see here as that's going through, it's matching and getting a different status back here, so there'll be points of interest. So one of the points of interest was internal, and we have an upload form here. And we can see here the question is, what is a directory that has an upload form page? And we can go ahead and put in internal. Awesome, so task 4, compromise the web server. So now we have somewhere to upload something. Let's upload something. So what common file type which you'd want to upload to exploit the server is blocked? Try a couple to find out. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and created some empty files here with different file extensions. So shell.htm, PDF, PHP. So let's see what we can upload. So first the HTML, not allowed. Next the PDF, also not allowed. And lastly the PHP, which is not allowed. So because I can see that this index is running PHP, so I assume that we'd want to upload a PHP. Cool, so that's what we're after. So identify which extensions are not blocked, we're going to fuzz the upload form. To do this, we're going to use burp suite. Cool, so let's go ahead and open up burp. Great, so don't forget to set your proxy and just refresh a page just to see that we've got access. Great. So our burp suite is picking up information. So following our instructions here, we'll go ahead and make our own little word list and try and find a PHP version that's going to work. So we'll just go nano our text editor and just create that file, and we'll put in, as they've recommended, the different variations of PHP, since this is what we want to try and upload. Control X, Y, and save that off. Just make sure that it's worked. So next we want to intercept all traffic. So we're on proxy, intercept, and we'll turn intercept on. So we'll go ahead and browse. We'll just upload a dummy file and we'll hit submit. So we'll right click that submission and we'll send it to intruder. So then on our positions, we just want to make sure we have the sniper attack mode set, and where we have our submission, our file.php, which is empty, we just want to change it so our extension is going to be the only thing that changes. And then on our payloads, we just want to load in our payload, which is that fuzz.txt that we created with the different PHP version numbers. So that'll load that in, and we can go ahead and start attack. And we just want to remove the other automatic payload areas that were within the sniper, within the payload. So having an issue with mine, it's just saying 200 status okay for all of them. If we look at the results, it looks like that my dot is being converted into, like, I'm not sure if that's like Unicode or like just HTML. So I'm going to try and type it in. I've just copied and pasted in the list here. I'm going to try it again. So I'm just doing this another time, but this time I'm just going to ignore the period and I'm just going to worry about the extension. So you can see here I've just removed the period. So I'm not sure what's going on with my burp, but I couldn't get a response from it. So I just tried one by one, and the final one worked, only because there was a small amount. So I just manually changed the file name here, and we can see we got that success from the form. So that's cool. So next up, we need a PHP reverse shell as our payload. So using the link, we've got pentest monkey and a PHP reverse shell. So I'm gonna click on raw, and then I'm gonna copy that URL. So I'm gonna use wget, and I'm gonna paste in that raw link to the GitHub. Once that's finished, we'll just look at the top there and make sure that it lines up exactly. Great, so we're going to need to edit this PHP file. So we've got some comments here next to what ports and IPs that we need to change. So we just want to make sure that we've got the right IP and the right port. Control X, Y, and save that off. We need to rename the file and change the extension. Great, so then let's just set up a listening port using netcat. So -L for listening, B so we can hear what's going on, N for something else that I can't remember, P for port, and we can just make this anything. So we'll have that listening. Whoops, we don't want the port that we're accessing, we want the port that we're going to send back to. So 1337 in my case, because that's what I've got on netcat listening. So I'll just turn intercept off. We'll go back to the website and browse. We'll pick our reverse shell, submit that. So we know that's on the server now. And as our instructions say, we can go to that file. So you can either copy or type it out and hit enter. So if I read the instructions correctly and actually thought about what I was doing, I need my IP address, not just the port number to listen on. So ifconfig, we're not putting the IP address of the system that we're on, but instead our IP address that it's going to communicate back to. Bit of a mistake there. So we'll just submit it again. This time access it and we'll go check out our netcat, and it looks like it sent back our shell. So currently logged in as the www-data user. So we need to figure out a user who manages the web server. So let's list out the directories in the home folder, and we've got a user called Bill. So if we list out his home directory, we can see that there is a user.txt. So if we just cat this out, we can see a string there, which is going to be our flag. Awesome. Next up is task 5, privilege escalation. Okay, so we need to look up for a SUID, set owner user ID upon execution, a special type of file with permissions given to the file. So SUID gives temporary permissions to a user to run the program or file permissions of the file owner. So we need to search the system and see if we can find any of these files for the current user that we're logged into. So a way to do this is using the find command. We can find anything with a permission of 4,000. So I'm just going to run that, and any permission errors we'll just ignore. So it looks like we've got a few results that have come back that we can use, and this one's standing out. So this is one of the binaries that has like a lot of control over the system. So if we look up SUID and the system CTL, we'll get a search result for GTFO bins. And here are a couple of ways that we can get around using this SUID. So if we run sudo, I'm going to use this last one here. So that didn't really work. So let's go ahead and use B. So I'm just copying and pasting the lines over, and we're going to change this line. So here we've got starting up the shell and running a command through. So I'm assuming -C for command, but instead of just ID of the temporary output, we know that in root text is the flag that we're after. So we can go ahead and paste that in. Make sure we install. So we want to invoke this temporary service that we've started. Instead of running the sudo and then the command, we want to make sure we're using this binary to the command. So in the binary directory, then run systemctl, which we have sudo to do so, link. And then our last one, as we see here, is going to enable it. Now, if we go over into that temporary folder and we list out what we've got, we don't see what we need because we catted this out, but we didn't actually put it anywhere. Okay, so this time, make sure that we actually direct the outputs of our file and we're putting it somewhere that we can see. And now, after we run it, and then lastly, we enable it, we go over to our temporary and we list out, and we'll actually see that directed output from last time, well, this time now actually doing it properly, cat out our output, and we indeed see what we're after. So we paste that in, and hooray, we got there. Ooh, all right, that last one was quite tricky, so I hope that you enjoyed the video. I must admit, I really struggled with this last bit, and I definitely had to look at a walkthrough, so a little bit of shade on me there, but yeah, so it's okay. It's a part of the learning process. Looking forward to doing more CTFs. If there's any rooms that you would like me to do, please let me know. And if there's any feedback on this video that you've got, yeah, let me know in the comments. Like to hear your thoughts on how are you progressing as you're going through these rooms. Are you getting a bit easier? I know that, sometimes it does feel a bit easier going through some tasks, but then, getting to a new territory, it feels like all that progress that you've made sort of disappears, and then you're just left facing really difficult tasks. It feels like you're back to square one sometimes. So yeah, anyway, that's my experience anyway. Would like to thank you for sticking around and watching this all the way through. I appreciate you. And if you've got a like that you'd like to leave in this video, I'd appreciate that. A subscribe, a comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, share a video with a friend and let them know what's going on. Cool, with that all being said, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.